Two people with tunnel vision recording themselves as they snuck into the MBTA tunnels and wandered around with unsuspecting trains whizzing by.
Transit police know about the video. They're now trying to figure out who actually shot the video. The T doesn't know when it was recorded. Some parents are thankful they saw this video so they can now sit down with their own kids.
They say these two put their lives on the line, running through the tunnels with dangerous hazards, and it may not be the first time.
So urban exploring is basically going to places that most people don't get to go to. So that can be train tracks, rooftops, and abandoned buildings. Anything like that can be considered urban exploring.
For me, like, urban exploring just comes hand in hand with photography. I mean, like, when I go out, my mission isn't like solely to explore new places, but really, like, my main objective is to capture good photographs.
I like Boston because it's a very different city than all the other cliche ones like New York, LA, Chicago. I feel like it's pretty slept on for photography.
Boston as a city is different than others. First, it's like a very historic city. Boston had one of the first subway tunnels. You see a lot of the city's history in the buildings, but then with all these new like condos going up and whatnot, you kind of see that contrast, and I think it's pretty interesting.
The biggest thing I like about urban exploring in Boston is the city's always expanding, and they're constantly coming out with these new buildings and new construction sites. It's always growing.
I think the thing that makes Boston the most interesting is basically its originality. There's not really many people that have been doing urban exploration or taking photographs like this of the city for too long.
Well, especially when I first started shooting photographs and urban exploring, it was sort of like an untapped city. There weren't many people doing it, so it was cool to know what I was doing hadn't really been done by that many people, if anyone, at the time. And now there's a lot of people doing it. It's been crazy, actually, to see, like, I don't know, I just feel like there's so many more people doing it now than there were even just a couple years ago, which is crazy.
Since I first started, it's gotten a lot bigger. It used to be very small, but now it's kind of blown up. I think a lot of people get inspired by pictures they see off Instagram and social media in general.
A lot of it has to do with YouTube and Instagram and people seeing that online, and then they're like, oh, if these people can do it, I can do it.
Disadvantages is how like urban exploration and like the whole photography scene is kind of like looked down upon by the media and general public, even though there's no harm involved or anything along those lines.
Everyone loves the pictures, they just don't love how you get them. So a lot of people will see an aerial shot of downtown Boston and they'll go crazy, like, wow, that's an amazing, beautiful image. But then somebody gets caught trying to go on a rooftop and they're like, wow, that kid's so dumb, why would he risk his life for that?
People get misled by both the news and by like authoritative figures that are saying like, oh, this is stupid, kids are like running around the city, they could die from this. And what they don't realize is like, we know what we're doing. We know not to step on the third rail. It's just, even my parents know, like, I know what I'm doing. Like, they know I'm not gonna do stupid stuff where I end up hurt or dead.
seen the video of me running through the red line. That was definitely one of the most crazy things I've done. Just to go to this abandoned station. Alright, so we had to run down the red line tunnel about a mile underground, and then we had to fucking time it right, so when a train came, we would have to hide in the cutouts for the workers. It took about probably an hour to reach there, and then we just exited through the street, through a house on the street. Yeah.
The possibility of getting hurt or arrested or anything along those lines are always there, but that's just kind of what it comes down to, I guess. If you want to get like the illest shots and get to the illest spots, you're gonna have to risk more, you know? The greater you risk, the greater the reward, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like speeding on the highway. You know you're speeding on the highway. Like, you can die from a car crash going 75 miles per hour when the speed limit's 65. Just like I could die from going on a rooftop and tripping over the edge. Like, freak accidents happen. You gotta just do your best to avoid them.
I'm definitely not going to go on a 5-story building and risk getting arrested, but if it's a place that I've been wanting to go, or the view would be amazing, I feel like it's worth it. Yeah, you're never gonna have those experiences ever again, and it's always gonna be something to look back on.
For me, like, and the reason I do it is just because I'm still having fun with it. Like, I've had fun with it from the day I started, and I continue to. So, and I'm happy with like the direction I'm going in with it.
I definitely do it for the photograph. I do it for my work to live on forever, for people to be able to see parts of Boston that no one necessarily wants you to see. And that's why I think it's worth it, even though there might be minimal risk here and there.